I'm here at the Barrel Room here in Canton, Ohio. I am with Keri Sullivan, the sole proprietor of this establishment. This is a really cool place, first of all. I've never been here before. We've been meaning to do this, and this is the first time we've finally gotten the chance to do it. I'm glad I got down here. This is a really cool vibe in here. How long has this place been around?
So it's been around since 2010, and then I bought it in 2014. And
nice.
we're still very into wine, but we kind of went the craft beer route at that point and just kind of went after that audience.
Well, it's a big growing audience now, especially here in Ohio, and it's paying out well for you guys. We're here at a Thirsty Dog tasting here on Valentine's Day, and this room is packed.
Yeah, we've had a lot of great response, so I'm happy with it.
How long have you been doing the tastings?
We've been doing the tastings for a couple of years, probably closer to 3, but the last 2 years we do try to schedule at least one a month, and prefer that somebody from the brewery's here so that it's, the total experience.
And for people who haven't been here, how can... what's the address and where are you guys located?
So we are in North Canton, 7901 Cleveland Avenue, and pretty easy to get to off the highway. So, we have locals that come in, but we do have people that travel, especially for the tastings. And we post those on our social media and our website. We do try to boost those posts, and the Craft Brew News Northeast Ohio Craft Brew News has been really good about sharing those tastings. So
Rob's a really good dude.
Yeah, he's great.
And very supportive of this industry, and it's really cool. What was it? Just buying this place that kind of got you into it? Were you into beer and wine beforehand?
No, I was into wine. I, oddly enough, didn't drink beer at all. What kind of prompted me was feeling uneducated when somebody asked me a question about the beers. The previous owner had a little bit of a selection, but not what we have now, and I didn't like to be uninformed, so I started dabbling a little bit, and it was kind of downhill from there.
I think that's been the common denominator with this industry is you get in, you get hooked, and then you just fall down the rabbit hole.
I just feel like it's a very approachable culture. It's inclusive. I do love wine, but I've met a ton of winemakers, and none of them are ever very friendly. Yeah, so the brewers, we've taken some time to get to know a lot of the brewers around here, and they're just great, and they're really passionate about what they do, which I totally respect. So it's fun, and it changes so much that you can't get bored with it, in my opinion.
And what was it about doing these tastings? What was the idea behind doing these tastings? I mean, it's paid off very well for you guys, as we said. Great idea. What was the kind of inspiration?
Well, we had done wine tastings before, but basically what we were finding was they got a little too frequent, and to have those wine reps come out, there's a lot more cost involved in those bottles, and I still have customers to this day that are like, we miss the wine tastings, and we do them, we just don't do them as frequently, but nobody was purchasing anything, so we're like, you know what, we're gonna try to do a couple of beer tastings. I feel like even our female population that comes in here now, a lot of them are moving from wine to beer, so I thought it would be a good way not only to try new things, but to educate the people that are drinking it. So it really just took off from there, and we have the Canton craft beer community, which Alex Fisher kind of put together. So generally, there's a large group of those people here. They're not here tonight with the holiday, but it's become something fun every month that I think everyone looks forward to.
Yeah, it's a way for you to kind of learn a little bit more about the beer, and to hear it directly from the brewer's mouths or someone from the brewery's mouth. It makes it a lot. It sticks in your brain a little bit more.
You take it away with
you. Yeah, you take a little bit
yeah.
more away. That's been a lot of the fun for me doing this show, has been just taking away the knowledge that you get just from talking to people.
Yeah.
And you can't really know something if you like it until you taste it.
Yeah, no, I kind of compare it to seeing somebody live in concert. You may have liked them, but once you see them live, you have a different appreciation. So it's really cool to see these brewers come out and listen to them talk, and some of the stories we've learned just at these tastings about how they got started or how they named a beer. It really is fascinating.
And going to some of, not the quote unquote unpopularity of the wine tastings, but Thirsty Dog's not too far away from here. You know, there's that aspect of it too. Is it's people like to spend their money locally,
correct?
And so you know, you get a vineyard coming in from California or somebody. It doesn't have that connection. I just feel like it's a little colder. You know, the beer thing is, and it's more inviting. It's just a warmer society, so to speak. So it definitely is. It's a lot more busy than the wine tastings were, so we're happy with it. Nice. Well, I'll let you get back to doing your thing. Anything else you want people to know about Barrel Room that I might have forgotten to kind of cover?
I would just urge you to keep an eye on our events. We are constantly trying to do fun stuff like this. And again, there's usually 90% of the time there's someone, if it's not the brewer, we ask that somebody that's educated at the brewery come along. So we have one scheduled every month. We have shorts coming up soon, the end of this month. We have Sandy Springs coming in April. We have Rheingeist coming back, which we made that a patio tasting last year, and it was just a blast. So it's just a fun way to learn a few new things and try some beers you might not get to try otherwise.
Absolutely. Keri, thank you so much for being here and letting me come down and go and enjoy and mingle.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm still here at the Thirsty Dog tasting at the Barrel Room here in Canton. I have a really big honor right now to be talking to the brewer, the brewmaster of Thirsty Dog. Tim, how are you today?
I am just fine, thank you.
I'm going to shake your hand.
How are you?
I'm doing great. This is a really great opportunity for me. I've been doing the show for about a year now, and Thirsty Dog has been one of the ones I really like to get down there and feature you guys on the show. But this is an awesome opportunity for me to be able to talk face to face with you. Thank you so much for being here. Talk a little bit about what tonight is for you guys. You're doing a tasting here. You're tasting 4 beers. What do these tastings do for Thirsty Dog?
Well, Thirsty Dog, as well as many other craft brewers, are still in a teaching phase to let people know what flavors are out there. I've talked to so many people over the year that when they taste a craft beer for the first time, they say things like, "Oh wow, that has more flavor than I expected," and things like that. And when you get into these bourbon barreled beers that we're tasting today, bourbon barrel, Chardonnay barrel beers, the complexities of the beers are over the top relative to your first taste of a craft beer. So this is still a continuation of the learning process, and the barrel-aged beers as well as sour beers are kind of like the next growing phase of craft beers. So we still need to teach people and introduce them into things. It's nice we got a full crowd here tonight. They're obviously very open to this thing. Inexpensive evening, 4 different barrel beers for $15, and they're nice-sized portions that they serve.
These are like
here.
8-ounce pours.
Yeah,
these are nice.
So that is really nice, and of course, sometimes that draws people in. But they're asking our barrel master Joe some very interesting, intriguing questions, and you can tell that these people have a desire and a love, and we all enjoy seeing that. That's what it does for me. That's what it does for Thirsty Dog, and Joe, I know, enjoys it too when you have good feedback and you feel like what you're doing is very worthwhile.
Now, when you started brewing in this industry, these kind of events weren't really going on all that much, were they? These kind of tastings and all that.
No, they weren't initially.
Go ahead.
They were being, when people came into the breweries. For instance, Great Lakes is the first one in Ohio, Great Lakes Brewing Company up in Cleveland. That was 1988. And I can remember being there all afternoon long, and me and my buddy were the only people in there.
Wow.
And later I got a job there, and as you could see people slowly progressing, the bartender's job was to do what we're doing right now.
Okay.
And little by little, they started getting the mentality that, well, we should be teaching people. We should pair our beers with food. We should possibly introduce home brewing clubs to our brewery and maybe let them have their meetings here and things like that. And so the process started, grew, and continued today. And I don't know of any brewery that doesn't go out and try to sell their product to the public.
Well, it's a great thing. It's a way for the brewers to get out here and meet the people that are drinking your beer and hear direct feedback. You know, it's nice to be able to sit here, talk to you, and say, okay, this barrel-aged Siberian Night that we're having with cherries and stuff. Yes, it's great. You know, it has these notes, and it's got to be rewarding. That's got to be rewarding for you too, to hear that kind of feedback.
Well, it is, and bear in mind that Thirsty Dog is a microbrewery.
Right.
We're not a brew pub, so people don't come into our place, sit at a table, get food, and you can actually go there and talk to them about, hey, how do you like the beer? What's it do? You know, what don't you like? What do you like? We have a tasting room open now, real close to Thirsty Dog, just a few buildings from it, and we're able to do that. But when you're a microbrewery, you've got to go out to find out what your feedback is. The only other source of feedback is sales.
Yeah.
And though that tells you that it's selling, it doesn't tell you why it's selling and what they like about it.
That's a really interesting point. I hadn't thought of it like that before because, you know, something's selling fast, selling good, but why? And that's a really interesting point. And I hear you guys probably get so much great feedback, you know, out of these types of events.
Oh, yeah.
What's been one of your favorite things that you've done at Thirsty Dog?
Oh, wow.
If you could pick one.
Well, that's a heck of a question. You know, I pretty much built Thirsty Dog on my recipes and all.
Legendary.
I would almost, I'd almost have to look at a recipe as how it affects sales at Thirsty Dog. For instance, I'd have to say our Christmas sale, which is a huge seller for Thirsty Dog, has such a infamous background to it, and we get so much wonderful feedback on it. That's I love that beer, and I like what it has done for myself and for Thirsty Dog, of course.
My dad is a huge fan of 12 Dogs.
Yep.
And he drinks with his dog. He doesn't give his dog the beer, but he does drink with his dog, and that's one of his favorite things to do, is to drink a 12 Dogs of Christmas with his dog. And so I wanted to tell you that story. I had to tell you that story.
That's cool. That's
what
a
he
good
does
story.
every year at Christmas time, he'll go and buy a 6-pack, and then he'll keep the bottles, and he'll put them around his tree. And he'll decorate his Christmas tree with Thirsty Dog 12 Dogs bottles.
Oh.
And it's in his barn.
We need a picture of that on our Facebook page.
I will get a picture of that when it's up next time. I think he just took it down, unfortunately. But next time it's up, I will get a picture of that for you.
That sounds really good.
Tim, I'll let you get back to enjoying your evening here. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me.
I appreciate you asking me to.
And hopefully I can get down and see you guys soon, and we can do a full-on feature on Thirsty Dog.
Sounds real good. Thank you,
Tim. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
I'm here with Joe over at the Barrel Room. We are at the Thirsty Dog tasting. Joe, you work for Thirsty Dog. You tell the people a little bit about what you do for Thirsty Dog.
Yeah, so I'm the head brewer over here at Thirsty Dog. I've been with the company for about 5 years. The mainstay is pretty much just keeping people safe for the most part. A lot of paperwork, all that fun stuff. But my kind of actual job behind all that is, you know, being involved with the barrel program and just heading that up.
Nice. And that's the theme of tonight. Is we're trying 4 different barrel-aged beers. The first one was a barrel-aged Saison.
Yep.
And what was it, Chardonnay barrels?
Yes, yeah.
Ooh, that's a nice combo. And Saison's a nice style to kind of play with. Has that been like your experience as a brewer?
Yeah, it's a very nice open platform. They can oftentimes be super peppery, or they can go all the way to that nice light, little bit of Brett funk, and then a little bit touch of acidity. And that's kind of what we have with our Saison de Chardonnay right now.
I like that. I like that a little bit more than kettle sours. I'm not a big kettle sour guy, but that's just me. There's something for everybody. If we all like the same thing, we'd all have one kind of beer.
Budweiser, right? No,
exactly, right? And then we also had a barrel-aged Siberian Night that you did with cherries.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about that. What was it about the cherries that made you go, okay, cherries?
Yeah. So it's always been a classic combination, I would say, in the brewing world for almost any beer to have that cherry aspect, whether it be a sour, whether it be a stout, whether it be even, reds I've seen with cherries. And it was something that's just been a classic that's a combination. We sat down and kind of went through a bunch of varieties of different ingredients and what we could add and what we could use to just make things taste better as they already are. Enhance the flavor, but not cover it up,
Gotcha.
Add to that profile. And we landed on sweet cherries for, our Siberian night, and especially for our barrel-aged Siberian night. It just worked out perfectly. It's a nice, subtle touch with enough fruit, but not too much.
Nice. Because that's always a balance issue. You can get too much or you can get too little. Trying to strike that balance with flavor, especially using like cherries or pumpkin in the next one. That's that mix of art and science that they say brewing is. It's, more power to you, man. I don't have the patience to do what you do. And
the beer helps, having a lot of beer.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were saying a little bit earlier, part of your job, you had to taste 60 different samples today.
Yeah.
They're little 1 ounces, but that adds up. That's almost a half gallon.
Yeah, so it was all barrel-aged samples. We're doing a little bit of spring cleaning, going through some barrels, retasting everything, making a game plan for the rest of the year about what we want to produce when. So we had about 180 casks that had to get tasted total over the past 2 weeks, and I kind of put things off, got a little lazy maybe, and had to cram it into 2 days. So yesterday I had 73 samples, and then today, since I was coming here, I took it a little lighter. Yeah, only went 60.
Yeah. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. And then we also have a barrel-aged pumpkin.
Yeah.
You do a bourbon and a rum
Yes,
barrel of
yes.
both of these. What's the differences in working with those barrels?
Any brewer that's listening to this, or anybody that works, with barrels themselves, I think their immediate answer is going to be rum barrels suck.
What's the integrity of the barrel itself? Is that a lot of it?
Yeah. The rum barrels that you get, they're most times aged standing up. So there's strike one. That whole face of the barrel that usually is on the side has all this oxygen pouring into it during its aging process.
Interesting.
So you're going to have, on top of another hole drilled into it that you have to seal, you're gonna have to seal that whole face of that barrel.
Oh wow!
And it's a struggle. I've done acupuncture with toothpicks, beeswax.
Wow!
We've often thought about using Flex Seal. Obviously, the FDA doesn't like that, so we can't. But it has crossed our mind a few times, just slapping some Flex Seal on there.
That's fine. And it's slightly different than your regular pumpkin ale. It's just not just a beefier version of it. Just slight tweaks and stuff here. Keep it a little interesting.
Yeah.
So that it's not just sampling the same thing.
Yep.
It's just in a barrel.
Yeah,
There's still some nice new additions to it. And what's the last beer?
The last beer is probably my favorite we're serving tonight. It has kind of a near and dear thing to my heart. It's a coffee barrel-aged Siberian night. So it's been aged in bourbon barrels for about anywhere from 8 to 2 years, depending on which batch. We do a lot of blending and mixing, so we'll go back and forth and mix down a little bit. But we've now taken this, and then we've added cold brew coffee that's been cold brewed for 48 hours. That's added into the beer directly after it's done finishing, and it's all from our friends over in Kent at Bentry, who, in my humble opinion, makes some of the greatest coffee around.
Yeah, they got some good stuff.
So we love using them, love doing a partnership with them. They make a nice little custom blend for us.
Yeah, keeping it local too.
Yeah, that was a big thing. And it's been amazing. It's one of the best beers that I think we've done in a long time. It's been consistent, and it's been just something that's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's been one of the big highlights for you in your time at Thirsty Dog?
That's a little bit tough, but I would have to say definitely going out to these festivals like Great American Beer Festival, or even our own conferences like our Craft Brewers Conference. Those things is where you meet these different people from all walks of life, from all parts of the world, let alone just the country, and you get to talk with them about these crazy ideas. I've met with people from like the brewery out at GABF, and had some
JAFB.
Yeah, not JAFB. No, not the boys in Worcester. but they there's talking with them and meeting with some of them, just about learning things off of them and just sharing ideas and just crazy thoughts of just like, oh, it'd be cool if you did this, and it's like,
you thought about using that?
Yeah. It's a lot of fun learning, and the community that we have is just, it makes it so much better.
Yeah, that's what I talk about a lot on the show, is the community aspect of this industry. It's great to hear, coming out here and hearing directly from all these fans of Thirsty Dog. what they like, what they don't like, and that's got to be really rewarding for you guys.
It is. It's amazing. It's probably the best part of the job, to be honest. Outside of the beer, of course.
Absolutely,
of course.
Joe, I'll let you get going. Go mingle, do your job, tell people about this wonderful beer. I appreciate you taking the time to come over and stop by and talk with me a little bit on the show. And hopefully I get down to see you guys, and we'll do a full feature on the show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
All right, man.
Hey, man.
Have a good one.
Yeah.